Hi team, welcome back to the TrackHouse 5K, couch to 5K, 15-minute walk run. Let's not hang around. You have your trainers on. We're going to get into it nice and gently. And as it says, walk, run. What we're going to do today is probably one of the most regular sessions or regular things that runners and athletes like to do, which is we're going to alternate 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. We have about 4 or 5 minutes where we just gently walk for a bit. So our shoes are on, we're out the front door. Excuse me. So we're just going to head for a nice gentle walk. And this is how we're going to start this 15-minute session. And truth be told, it's 15 minutes. I think it's super manageable, and it's something that I talk about, which is that positive reinforcement. The idea of today is to get out, do 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off over the course of this kind of 15 minutes. And that is going to hopefully give us the encouragement and motivation to repeat that another time. And maybe you go from this little couch to 5K series and work on a little bit more. Excuse me. We're 1 minute into our walk, and what I'm going to get you to do is just nudge your walking speed up a little bit. And you might notice that at the moment, your stride length is quite long. You're taking nice, big, long strides, and you are landing on the heel of your foot, and you are rolling through to the big toe. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, as our speed increases, and then as we come to a little run in a couple of minutes, we're going to go for a run in 2.5 minutes. So at the 4-minute mark, we're 1.5 minutes in. That's going to be our first little jog point. So we have 2 minutes, 20 seconds before we jog, just so you can mentally think about it. But what I'm going to ask you to do when we do get into that jog is shorten your stride length a little bit. So you're not quite reaching and you're not quite striding as far. And you can still land on your heel. That's not a problem. Plenty of shoes are designed specifically for that kind of heel strike. That's okay. We're fine with that. But the stride that we are taking now as we walk is going to be a little bit different to our jogging stride. And I've spoken about it before. It's a little bit like crossing the road, see a car come, you're going to be super courteous. Or maybe, you're trying to catch up with someone. You're just going to move your arms a little bit faster. So at the moment, whilst we're in a walk, when we're walking, we tend to have our hands stand by our side. What I'm going to ask you to do in 1 minute, 15 seconds is just pick your hands up and just start walking or jogging with a bit more purpose. So at the moment, it's a nice, easy walk. We're rolling from heel all the way through. When we come to a jog, we're going to shorten our stride length, and we're just going to turn our feet over a little bit quicker. And we might change where our foot is landing on the ground. So think about it now. Think about how your foot is landing. In 45 seconds, I'm just going to gear up, start thinking about it. Maybe you might want to increase your walking pace. Maybe you start using your arms a little bit. Pick your hands up, stay nice and soft in the shoulders. And as we walk a little bit faster, you might find that you are tensing and engaging your core a little bit. And in 30 seconds, we are going to try and do a 2-minute jog, and we're going to hold that jog. And the pace change doesn't have to be dramatic. That's not what a walk-run series is about. It's not what Couch to 5K is about. It's not what running is about. And in 10 seconds, the change of your speed doesn't have to be super drama. It's not like going from a walk to a sprint. And 4, 3, 2, nice and gentle. And in actual fact, it's a tiny little change in the pace, but it's a big change in the way that we approach our movement. And we go from a nice long walking stride, and what I have done is shortened my stride right up. So now it's nice and short. And you'll notice that I went from moving my arms nice and slowly to nice, quick, slightly shorter arm movements, driving them backwards and forwards. And the speed hasn't changed a huge amount, but my approach to my movement has changed a lot. What I've done, shortened everything right up. In terms of my stride length, I've actually changed how my foot hits the ground a little bit, not quite reaching as far with my feet. My stride and my steps are a little bit shorter. My arms are doing a lot of work. My hands have definitely been picked up, moving my elbows backwards and forwards. And also stay nice and proud in the chest. So your chest is nice and upright, and you begin to breathe that little bit harder. So the pace doesn't have to change a huge amount. As we come into the last 30 seconds of this little jog series, we start concentrating on our breath, something to focus on. Keep moving, arms, feet, small steps. Think about a nice little tense in the core, nice and gentle, chest nice and high, eyes on the path ahead of us, or if you're on a treadmill, just gently looking across the other side of the room. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and slow it down. Back into that walk. Use the walk as a recovery. Start breathing. Don't worry about trying to match your breathing pattern to your walking stride. That's fine. But when we run, try and create a nice rhythmic breathing that matches your intensity for which you are running. When you are walking, it's fine. This is our recovery. This is our aerobic. Just start moving. We're 30 seconds into our walk, and you will notice my stride, my leg pattern is now just become nice and long. And I'm landing on that heel, rolling all the way through to my toe. And it's nice and easy. Big long strides, big long steps. Using it to recover. Hands down, back down by my side. Gentle. Big breaths. Nice recovery moment. We have 1 minute, and we're going to go back into our little jog again. And these little walk run series, couch to 5K, there's two things we can do as we progress, which is we can either make that little jog a little bit quicker, or you can just change the incline a little bit if you're on a treadmill. And that's a super handy way where you can actually make yourself work a little bit harder, but you're not changing the dynamics of your run movement too much. So it's a really handy way of just making it a little bit harder by just putting like a 0.5 on the incline without really changing too much. It just becomes that little bit more difficult. 15 seconds, and we're going to go back into another jog. So we start thinking about it nice and easy. Big breaths. 5, 4, 3, 2. In we go. We have it. We've got this one. This is us. Nice and easy. Immediately, stride length shortens. And then the part of my foot I'm landing on has completely changed. I've gone from landing on the heel to kind of landing in the midfoot. I pick my arms up, arms backwards and forwards. And then importantly, and this is something for you to think about, I try and roll all the way off the big toe. Not quite so important when you're walking, but when you are running, it becomes very important. Big toe should be the last thing you leave behind. You're like, why is that, Max? What's the point of that? Well, quite simply, if you do not come off that big toe, you're spending a lot of time bouncing upwards. Big toe being the last thing that leaves the ground or the treadmill means that you are going forwards. So just think about that for a second. Shorten your stride. Move your arms, push them backwards and forwards. We're 1 minute in to the jog. Create that rhythmic breathing. Nice breathing pattern. And as I say, be a little bit forceful with it. One of the nice things about being a human is that our lungs are not attached to our diaphragm, so we can breathe in a different pattern to when we are running. 30 more seconds, which means that we can create any breathing pattern that we want whilst we are moving our legs at any speed. 20 more seconds. Just concentrate. keep your stride pattern nice and short. You're moving the legs a little bit faster. Nice and easy. 10 seconds, and we're going to drop back down to another walk in 5, 4, 3, 2, back down we go. And again, use this recovery phase, 2 minutes to recover, and then we'll get one more 2-minute jog in and then a 1-minute walk. Nice big breaths. Move your shoulders, just relax them. Sometimes when we run, we end up holding tension in our shoulders. They end up kind of coming up nice and high or coming up too high, and means that our torso starts moving left and right, and that's what we want to try and avoid. When we're walking, relax the shoulders, shake the arms. We don't have to worry about it so much. But when we are running, these arms really work the legs. So use these recovery phases. Big breaths, draw it in. One more 2-minute jog session to go. And we have just over a minute before we dive into that one. Again, during this walk period, as you can tell, I'm being a bit more kind of sturdy with my walk and striding it out a bit more, casually using my shoulders a little bit, arms backwards and forwards. When I come into my jog, I'm going to change it all up. My stride will just shorten a little bit. I'll start landing a little bit more on my midfoot, and I'll be using my arms, and I'll be breathing a bit harder. 30 seconds to go, and we will dive into our last 2-minute jog. And it's super important. I want you to know this. I want you to understand this. Walking is part of running. You know, I don't care who you are. Don't care what your ability level is. There will always be times when it's relevant. And whether that's going up a hill or whether that's walking before you go into a run or a warm-up, walking is part of running, and it's all under the same umbrella, and we should incorporate it. So 3, 2, 1, nudge up the pace just a little bit, start moving, shorten my stride length, use my arms, pick my hands up so they're up by my side, shoulders backwards and forwards, concentrating on what's in front of me. Breathing becomes so much more important as we have to draw in a bit more oxygen to fuel us. Stride length shortens, focusing on which part of the foot is landing on the ground. Arms starting to drive the legs now. Arms are super important in running because they have to stay in rhythm with your feet, in which case sometimes you can drive your arms and it will move your feet. So you start focusing on that, creating a nice quick turnover that is the difference between that long walking stride or that long kind of power stride to that shorter jogging, quicker feet turnover. We have 1 minute left. Focus on the breathing. Be a bit forceful with it. Draw in the air. Actively draw the air right back into your lungs. 40 seconds. More of this. Arms start working a little bit harder. Trying to stay loose in the shoulders. And we're rolling off that big toe as we are moving forward into our last 20 seconds. Nice and easy. Big breaths. Create your breathing pattern. Draw the air in. Last 10. Work. Don't cheat yourselves. 5, 4, 3, 2. Slow it back down to a walk. And this is my recovery walk. So I'm ditching the power walking. I'm coming for a nice little walk. Arms really don't become that relevant at all. But I'm just going to shake them off. Make sure my shoulders are nice and loose as we come into the last minute of our 15-minute 5K walk run series. And again, completely changed my body movement now. I'm kind of landing on that heel, just rolling through, using this moment to catch my breath and recover. Make sure, even after a 15-minute walk run, that you get a nice stretch and cool down in. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I'm going to slow it down and come to a stop. That's 15 minutes. We did 3 times 2 minutes on and off. It's really great to do those kind of walk run sessions, because those are the ones that lead into the slightly longer run sessions. And they're definitely something that every athlete should be utilizing. And they are super important to anyone's training program. So thanks for joining me on my little walk run. Hopefully we can highlight the differences between the walks and the running, work on our technique, work on our breathing a little bit. Positive reinforcement. Do we feel good? How good was that for us? Would we do it again? That's the important thing, because if we finish these things and we think, do you know what, I can do more of that, that makes us want to come back. The aim isn't to end every session in a puddle of sweat on the floor, kind of struggling to breathe. There will be a time for that, and we will get to that, but not today. Today, positive reinforcement. I enjoyed that. I'm proud of myself for doing those 15 minutes. I'm proud of you for doing those 15 minutes. So thanks for joining in, guys, and hopefully we'll get to do another one soon.